Hello, everybody. It's been a while, but we're back. My name is Danny Murray.
We are back. My name is Graham Murray. We're back with a bang.
This is WTS 242. 242. Incredible, man. It wouldn't work as a football formation at all.
No.
Mad into football now after the Euros, Graham. I've gone... Whew. Yeah.
242. That's 8 players. So that is 8 defenders in Gareth Southgate's starting 11.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Italia.
I tell you, man. Right. Now, I said Italy would win it before it, right? And I backed Italy to win it with Ciro Immobile to be top scorer, which was foolish on my behalf because the chap forgot to play football very early on in the tournament. But there was
what made you do Immobile, then?
I just...
You and Dan, are you and John love Serie A, don't you?
Yeah, love Italian football, man. Love it. It's full of characters. Do you know what I mean? It's full of characters. Like,
is that why you picked?
No, I picked, to be honest with you, man, right? Honestly, I was looking at it and I genuinely didn't think Ronaldo would have a decent tournament because I didn't think Portugal would have a decent tournament. I wasn't banking on Ronaldo getting like fucking 24 penalties in the tournament, right? I didn't think Harry Kane would be up to much. And I honestly, there's no word of a lie. I popped into Google best FIFA strikers and Ciro Immobile was up there and I said, fuck it, why not?
Love it. That's like Championship Manager when you used to dress up.
Yeah, I'm not going to...
When I used to wear the anorak and the cap when you got to the final.
You know, it was a short and tie for the final.
What a tournament, though.
Loved every fucking minute of it, man. But there was a very, very, very brief and tense moment where I thought, Jesus Christ, on the last episode of the podcast before we went on our summer holidays, all we done was talk about how shit England are and how they want to win. And then we said how we're going to look like ticks when they win it. And it nearly came true. But we had nothing to worry about. We had nothing to worry about.
But here's the thing, right? Here is the thing. I think Gareth Southgate is very likeable. I think the England squad is very likeable.
No.
Well, just hear me out first and then let me hear you out.
Right.
I think they're likeable in as far as there doesn't seem to be a divide with social issues. In terms of what they got behind the rainbow, the Pride Rainbow, the knee and stuff, they seem quite united in that front, and I think that considering the rhetoric that came from pre and post Brexit, I think that is very admirable, and I think it's okay. It should be normal. It should be normal, but as well as that, in terms of the attacking players he picked, I thought during the tournament, not prior to the podcast where we said there's not a hope, but as the tournament was happening, I couldn't believe the approach he took. Now, I'm saying that about a team that made the final of a tournament, but as well as having said that, they are not, I don't think they're going to get an easier path to the final. And absolutely, I find them likeable in some respect, more likeable than I've ever found them, which was 0 prior to this tournament. And don't get me wrong, when Italy won on penalties, my house was like pots and pans. World Cup '94 when Ray Houghton scored against Italy.
It felt like Ireland won.
It felt like Ireland won, and there was a relief. There was a relief because the people. Yeah. I didn't want to hear from the people. I didn't want to hear from the media. Yeah. But I think Southgate completely got it wrong. And it's fine saying that because they got to the final, but I mean, I think with the attacking players to his disposal, I don't think he utilised them at all.
No, I think so. I don't want to get too much into it because we're going to talk about the Euros probably a bit
in
more
a couple of weeks. Yeah,
exactly. But what I will say is that England team it's a fraud. It's an absolute fraud. Gareth Southgate, while I can understand what you're saying about him being
likability.
And I agree with the point of like it was good to see an English team take the knee. It was good to see an English team back the rainbow. It was good to see an English team with a social conscience.
That's brilliantly articulated, and that's what I mean.
However, still a bunch of arseholes. Their fans are still the worst in the world. I absolutely fucking hate their fans. In fact, I would strongly recommend every governing body out there thinks about banning their fans from a major tournament to actually show them it's not acceptable anymore, lads. You do this every time. You're an embarrassment to yourselves. You're an embarrassment to your mothers. and take a long, hard look in the mirror and question yourself. You're in your 40s. Grow up. Every one of you grow up, right?
Agree with every word you've said.
I think there's a lot of that England team that are completely overrated and overhyped. And I think had they not had the circumstances that they had, they would not have got to the final. And by circumstances, you referenced it, the side of the draw they were on, I mean, the path they had. I could have made that final, man. And me mini World Cup winning team in 1995 could have made that final with that path, right? I think on top of that, the factor in that, now I get it, every tournament has a host nation, but not every tournament has COVID and restrictions that allow for basically 100% of the attendance to be home fans only.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just no.
They had everything on their side and they couldn't win it.
Exactly. Sorry, I just want to say one more thing on it. The Gareth Southgate thing. Gareth Southgate, I don't buy into him. I don't buy into his waistcoats. I don't buy into his ties. I don't buy into his beard. I don't buy into his Atomic Kitten singing. I don't buy into any of it. And I especially don't buy into his commentary about England being invaded by the Germans and the spirit of the Blitz playing a part in the...
Yeah, he ruined that now.
Get in the fucking bin, Gareth. You absolute tosspot. I'm not having it. I'm sorry. No. Anyway, that's me rant.
I know, and I agree with every single word you said. That bollocks of the spirit of Churchill the 2 days before the final, get in the bin. Like, he ruined it for me there. There was a likability factor, and then when you read that, you're kind of going, Gareth, would you fucking get in the bin? But yeah, we'll talk about the Euros in a couple of weeks with hopefully a special guest.
Absolutely.
Who are we talking to this evening, Dan?
This one is very, very special. We were supposed to do a couple of weeks ago. My internet shit the bed, and then we went on our summer holidays. So our guest this week kindly agreed to reschedule for after our summer holidays, and we got a good chat with Dave Rooney of the Black Donnellys. Dave, a Ballyblack man who has made good of himself across the water, and is an Emmy Award winner, no less, thanks to his recent documentary, An Irish Story. It's out now. You can check it out. But why not hear from the man himself?
All right, our first episode back after a bit of a Euro 2020 hiatus is an Irish musician who learned his craft in the beautiful Emerald Isle and took it to the American dream. He's a fantastic musician. He's in a band, the Black Donnellys. And he's a recent, himself and Dave Brown are recent Emmy Award winners. It's one of my best mates in school's brother. It's David Rooney. How are you, David?
How's it going, Graham? How are you doing?
Great.
Nice.
Thanks for the time.
No, gee, you're more than welcome. Jesus, you know, I love talking to one of our own. You know what I mean? It's always great to. I miss Ireland terribly, and you know, unfortunately for me, like going away and all that, it's great to get all the bits and pieces and do what you want, but you'd love to be doing it at home. Unfortunately, the industry isn't there for us, so you've got to get up and get out and see what's out there, and that's it. But I miss the chipper.
Pan Beach, is it?
Oh yeah, absolutely, and the Cambo.
And the camp, Rita will be loyal with that plug anyway. God bless him. It's mad, Dave, because like we'll definitely talk about the Emmy and about the rockumentary that yourself and Dave made as well. But
sure,
anyone who has been fortunate enough to go to fabulous Las Vegas may have encountered you in some way, shape, or form if they were lucky enough to get the re-rolls at some point. Tell us what made you go to Vegas and how the re-roll bit came about.
Well, I've been always in love with America anyway. You know, as probably most people in Ireland are. It always seems to be the big brother of Ireland and the place where you can go to make something of yourself, basically. You know, and I was heading over to New York. I was working with a young guy called George Murphy, who was kind of a television sensation singer that was kind of modelled on a very famous Irish traditional singer, Luke Kelly. So he won that. I'm a Star or You're a Star, whatever it was, or he didn't win it actually. He was a prominent contestant in it. Anyway, he was over in the States, and I was going over and back, and I was doing a few gigs with him, and then I started going over and doing a few gigs on my own and stuff like that. And I'd already been playing with Dave Brown, whom I'd met previously in 2004 in Lanzarote, and I was down there playing in Puerto del Carmen, and we just had a chance meeting one night, and then we got chatting, and then he was talking about people he knew and it turns out we knew everybody. Everybody he knew, I knew, kind of thing, but we hadn't met yet. So I was kind of thinking about going back to Ireland, and I got back there in 2006. He says, I've got a couple of gigs for us, you know. He says, do you want to come back and we do a bit of work together? And I says, yeah, okay, no problem. So the first gig was the Point Depot opening for Madness, which was like just the biggest thing that ever happened to me.
Nice.
You know? I'm a huge fan, and Graham, Mark Merrigan, I know, is a devout Madness fan, and I'm sure it would have been. I'm sure he'll appreciate this story, you know. But so, anyways, that's where I started. You know, playing with Dave, and everything went downhill from there. But how we got to Las Vegas was I was to and fro to America. I was loving the vibe I was getting over there. Dave had gotten a gig over there in Rira, and he said, do you want to come over for the game? I said, yeah, sure. So over we went, and we used to do, like, let's say 2-week stints 3 times a year, and we did that for about 3 years, and we were starting to really get fond of the place, and it was working really well. And one of the biggest things that was working was the original music was working really well, because excuse me, I'm a songwriter, as you probably know, and one of the things that I'd like to do at any of the gigs, you know, would be to play your own stuff, and then mix it up with the covers and that. Like, so it kind of sets you apart then, because people will remember you outside of people going to the pub, listening to a load of covers, and then getting absolutely obliterated and going, "Oh, that was a great night last night. What was the name of that band?" You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This kind of thing. Whereas when you're writing songs, people tend to, you know, catch on to the story of it, and they make their own. They attach that song to their own life and their own experience and so on, and hence making you more memorable to them. You know, that kind of way. So it's a good way. It's a good way to kind of set your feet and dip your toe in the water into that kind of, you know, songwriting artist kind of vibe, and try to push your brand forward. Anyway, long story short, I know I'm going on here. Long story short,
you're here to talk, man. You're here to talk.
Dave, were you?
Okay.
Were you? Am I right in saying you were selling CDs as you were gigging in Ireland before going to America?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was one of the things that I did. I started doing it in Lanzarote, actually, and I've been writing songs ever since I lived in Denmark, '97. Which is where I kind of started. And I worked in a bar called the Shamrock, and then I met a fellow from Dublin over there, and he says, "Oh, I like your stuff and all that. Do you want to tour together?" And I do Finland, Norway, Sweden, Germany, and Denmark. It was kind of the circuit that was run by a company called Blackwater Music. A guy from Cork, his name is John. What's his surname? John Higgins. So I went with him and started doing it all around there as well. It's how do I put this? People in Europeans kind of like that whole vibe. At home, it's harder to do it when you're playing to locals and people that know you, kind of thing, because you're like, oh, nah, unless they see you on the television or hear you on the radio. You know, Irish people, we love things that shine. You know, if it's shiny, we want it. You know, and the only way that would shine is if you're on the radio or on the on the television. So, and it's very hard for any artist, and many artists will vouch for this over there, to try and get your stuff onto the radio or it's very, very competitive, and it's only the chosen few get through and stuff like that. Europe, it's a little bit easier to do it because people kind of tend to, you know, to go for that. First of all, you're a token, you're different because you're not from there, number one. Secondly, Irish music travels all over the world, and whether that's traditional, contemporary, original, it doesn't matter. Point of it is it travels very, very well. So people fall in love with the Irish persona all over the world. It's amazing how popular we actually are, you know. And as much as we like to chop each other down, even though we're great crack in the pub and all that, but we have this sort of thing where, like, you know, I don't mind you doing well, but you're not going to be doing better than me. You know what I mean?
So goodry.
So there's a little bit of that goes on. So excuse me. So out there it's easier. And then coming to the States, they really buy into the whole Irish thing, you know. And it gives you license then to go and do what you want to do. As long as you're willing to get up, get at them, try hard, you know, work on your craft, make sure what you're delivering is good, make sure like you see the reaction is working, which is very important, and then take it from there. That's how I got here. We propositioned Rira when we were here, we'd be your house band, because we thought it was a great window to be seen, and we were right, because we've gotten lots of offers. We met all sorts of producers, labels, filmmakers, and so on, and which hence brought us into what we're doing right now.
Brilliant. It's mad. It's like I'm fascinated by people who kind of take that like a different path, for want of better terms. You know what I mean? And you've gigged all over the world to get to where you are, which is incredible. Like, and you've been in Vegas for how long are you based there now?
7 years. 7 years I'm here now.
Yeah, Jesus. Something else, like,
we've one of the longest running residencies in Vegas, so which is great. It works for us, and we have a returning crowd. It's quite transient here, and that kind of works for you because you have a conveyor belt of people coming in and out. But what's actually happened over time? People remember you and they come back and they want to see you and so on, blah blah blah. So there's not a night that we're in there that there's not someone that has come back, at this stage. And obviously, we had a couple of very prominent moves here. I wrote the song for McGregor for the ever infamous McGregor for the UFC 202 return fight with Diaz, and the UFC put that out, and it got us an awful lot of exposure, and that kind of put the pub on the map in a lot of ways, because all the Irish would come there for the fights. There'd be a sea of green and stuff like that. We broke the world record for the longest concert ever held at Rira, 15 days and 10 hours, 372 hours. What else did we do?
15 days?
15 days and 10 hours is what we did, yeah. Yeah, so what we had was, I know you're looking at me there going, what? so we had a kind of a tag system, and we flew in Liam Riley from Bagatelle and various sort of Irish artists and prominent American artists, and we did a tag team. But we led the charge on it, and we spent the most time on the stage. I sang for 190 hours or something like that. So it was killer, man. I was really ill after it, But we broke the world record, and then So things like that has happened is great. It's really put ourselves on the map and put Rira on the map, and they've been very helpful to us, and it's been reciprocated. So it's been very, very exciting kind of roller coaster ride. And I won Best Irish Songwriter of the Year, Singer-Songwriter of the Year in 2012 by RadioIrish.com in New York City. So America's been really good to me. So I'm looking forward to, now that we're actually getting to the place where we can start going and touring and stuff like that, because the world is closed down. We're all playing catch up. Next year is going to be a much bigger year for us. So fingers crossed.
How has that been for you for the last, what are we talking, 16 months or so now? Like, obviously, like a lot of our listeners based in Ireland, and we've got people all over the world, but we know the story in Ireland. There's been, the entertainment industry has been absolutely shot, man, But how has it been for you over there as an entertainer?
Well, it's been very, very tough. So basically, Las Vegas closed down. So we were let go for 4 months. So we'd no earnings and stuff like that. And then they brought us back then and had us for two days a week and 3 days a week. And a lot of the places, there was a moratorium on all the mortgages. I don't have a mortgage here, I rent. And then there was a lot of forgiveness on the rents, meaning that you could, catch up, when the world started opening up again. So yeah, a lot of people are hurting, still hurting from it. Like, the good thing about over here is that it does have the industry, and it has opened up and started to open up. But we've been lucky now. We're going back now, so we're about maybe 6 months behind ourselves. But it's there for us to go and get. So things are going to be much better. Thank God.
Dave, what was the expectation? Sorry, Danny, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and so Vegas itself is reopened now, and are you starting to see an increase in kind of, like, we had obviously, the weekend gone there, a McGregor fight, which usually means a decent crowd of people coming in for a big event like a UFC or whatever. So if you started to notice the footfall is returning, is it looking promising? Like,
oh absolutely, 100%. So the T-Mobile was full, 21,500 people. I was actually supposed to be playing Connor in and Dustin Poirier in. He's from Lafayette in Louisiana. Yeah. And obviously Connor's from Dublin. So the tunes before the Sinead song and obviously the Biggie Smalls, Notorious, we were going to be the Irish band. I was going to bring in a 7-piece, and we were going to have some Irish dancers and stuff like that. That was the plan. because the UFC got in contact with me about 3 weeks ago, and he said, "Listen, we want to try and organise this." And I said, "Okay, grand." So we went through the ifs, the ands, and the buts, and we were getting to the place. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Problem was that this is the first time that the fighters came out from different angles, and excuse me, and in order to play the music, you would need to be beside where the fighter is coming out, which would mean that like you play over this side and then you'd have to run over the other side. And what happened there was health and safety came into play. And because of the restrictions, of the opening restrictions are a little bit more stringent than normal, they said, look, we can't do that. Conor was supposed to win that fight, by the way, and get the title fight with Oliveira. I was talking to John Kavanagh on the Thursday night. He came in for a pint, and we were having a chat, and he was telling me that, so if he wins this fight, he gets the title fight with Oliveira, and that'll be at the new Allegiant Stadium, which is 75,000 people. Yeah. But anyway, the UFC got in touch and said, listen, we can't do it. We've got a health and safety issue. The timing's not right, but we want to do it for the next one. We love the idea. So yeah, and then he goes and breaks his leg. Or his ankle. So I don't know what so we leave that there. But yes, for sure, definitely, in answer to your question, definitely it's getting much, much more busier, and we have conventions starting and stuff like that. And it's very, very evident that there's lots of people here now. Yeah.
They love conventions in Vegas, don't they?
Yeah, they love them. Yeah, like 4,000 or 5,000 people come to the hotel, and then they do what they do in the daytime, and they come in and go crackers in the pub at night time. Everyone just lets loose and let's go, and we're there to ensure that they do that. Yeah. But it's good fun. There's a lot of positivity here, and you got the weather. Although it's 47 degrees at the moment Celsius, so. It's very, very, very hot at the moment. Yeah. So thank God for me.
I was there in July before, and it was there was a lot of ducking into hotels for air conditioning, shall we say?
Absolutely.
Hell, yeah.
Have you got used to the heat, Dave?
I don't think you'll ever get used to that. Here's the thing. If you're doing, let's say, this intense heat is only for about 3 months every year. A lot of people don't understand that. They think it's like that all the time. Oh, Jesus, but no, it's very, very temperate here. You're anywhere between, I've forgotten about Celsius now because I use Fahrenheit all the time. But like it's in around the 20s, 25s, you know what I mean? It's nice and comfortable, it's warm. You can go to the pool if you want. You can, it's nice. It gets cool, very cold at night time actually.
Yeah.
You can go down to freezing point and all the rest, which is weird in the desert. It's a funny place that way, But no, I haven't gotten used to it, Graham. No. It's not something that I see me getting used to anytime soon. No.
So, Dave, would you say like you've exceeded what expectations did you have going to America? And would you say you've exceeded them, particularly with the Emmy?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
many Irish people have won an Emmy, like.
I don't recall, to be honest with you. It's not something that I measured up against anybody else. But when stuff is like that's happening to you, you're kind of like bamboozled. Staring. Oh Jesus! I mean, we were shortlisted for the Grammy for the song for the movie, and we were beaten by Beyonce and ZZ Top and the Beastie Boys. So that's good company to get beaten by.
Yeah, you're not in bad company there at all.
No, not at all. And so that was grand. You're always hopeful you're going to win. And then we got nominated for the Emmy. And I don't know. I had a feeling, I had an inkling that maybe we'll win this. I don't know why that is. You could say that anyway. But and then on the other side of that, thinking that you just think, okay, well the nomination's very good. So people say, Grammy nominated band, stuff like that. So you could have used these little words to help your profile and stuff like that. But to win it, so it's very funny actually how this happened, because we were driving in to work, and sometimes Browner drives, sometimes I drive. We do a half and half during the week. So if you want a beer, well, one of us can have a beer, and that kind of way. So you play it safe that way. But anyway, so it was an online thing, and it was on Facebook, and we were watching it. This is the Natas. I have it written down here.
The National Academy of Television Arts and Science.
Thank you. It's written here at the end of this. Oh yeah, there you go. Have a look at her. Ain't she pretty?
Stunning.
I was going to read that up, but there you go. Anyway,
Merlo was
watching it
matched
anyway.
somebody just like that on Tinder a few times now, actually. Now.
Very good. Good man, flying the flag. But so we're in the car anyway, and we're watching it, and Browner's driving, and I'm holding the phone, and we're watching it, and it said, and the nominees are right, and it comes up, this is my home, and then there was 3 or 4 other, no, actually, there was 7 other contestants. That was grand, other documentaries, and then the Emmy goes too. But they don't announce it, like, and then This Is My Home came up, like, and then it just went off. And then he's looking at me and said, "Did we win?" I don't know. What happened? I don't know. And the only reason that we knew that we won was that people were ringing us on Messenger from Ireland who were watching it, because I put it up on the page. If you want to watch the ceremony, here it is, like, So, well done. And I was like, we won. What? He nearly crashed the bleeding car. He did. So we got down into the place, and then we walked in, and then everyone was clapping their hands and all that. It was a great moment. It really was.
Absolutely.
Very, very proud moment. And you never think, all of these things are quite political in their way. You know what I mean? And you never think like that. Like 2 lads from Dublin are going to, you jump into the big pond. Whatever about Ireland, you can be a bigger fish in a little pond for all the good that it does you. But when you come to America, you're certainly a little fish in a big pond. There's so many people here, 400 million plus, and there's an awful lot of singer-songwriters, artists, all kind of people like that. So it was an achievement, and I've been over the moon ever since. It's been fantastic, and it's opened up a lot of doors, festivals, agencies, everybody getting in contact. So we're going to have the next 5 years is going to be very, very busy for us, definitely.
Brilliant.
You love to hear it, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thank God for it.
Just to be a prequel of that little story. Why did you win the Emmy? Like, what did you do? Like, where did the idea come from with the documentary, and what? Just tell us everything about the documentary.
Okay, it's very, very serendipitous how it all happened. So Browner's a great ideas man, and he's always kind of, try that, try this, and he comes up with this stuff, and much to the point where he starts saying stuff to me, and I just ignore him, or I say, "Look, get away from me. I don't even want to talk."
That's what Danny does to me.
yeah, and it's great to have that kind of driving force. The good thing is, are we gone?
No, Merlo's he's back. His camera's just going on and off.
Anyway, the good thing is to have that, and we're both kind of very, very ambitious in our way, and we're always coming up with different ideas, or I might have an idea and he'd add to it, and then I add to it, and that's how it rolls. But so we were looking at something. Oh yeah, Browner was talking. We were playing one night, and there was a guy in the crowd, and he said something about he was talking about, "Oh yeah, my son, daughter just did 48 states or 50 states." Browner goes, "Is that a thing? Do people do that?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, I mean, to do that, it's great." So he went and looked online, and it turns out that George Thorogood, who's famous for Bad to the Bone, blues guitarist, he did 50 gigs in 50 states in 50 days. So that gave us a kind of so Browner goes, "I think we should try and do this. Let's do 60 gigs in 50 states in 40 days, right?" So okay. So we went about setting up that, and what we were about to encounter, no one could ever have prepared us for, because it's not something that you just do on a whim, and there's a serious amount of preparation that you would need to do this, and we did a lot of the preparations, but we didn't quite get it right from the word go, and that was pertaining to people that we hooked up with as well to help us along, who weren't really helping us, were hurting us and had ulterior motives and all this kind of stuff. There was all that background stuff going on. Anyway, with regards to the meeting the filmmaker, so I was put in touch with this management company, and I talked to them, and they said they wanted to help us out and get involved, and that they would book us after, because we'd get massive exposure from this. That was grand. So the following 2 or 3 days, he comes to me and says, "Look, I'll be talking to some filmmakers. We're going to make a movie of this, which I said, fantastic. So between the heat and the he says, "Look, will you go and meet them and talk to them and tell them your story and what you're going to do?" So Carl Nickley had just moved here, Frequency Pictures. He'd moved here from Los Angeles. And him and Michael Toussard, who's an Emmy Award-winning DP, director of photography. So I go to meet the director anyway, and we sit down, we talk, and we get on very, very well, and we're having a chat for a good 2 hours. And I brought all my original music that I had. So I've released about 3 solo albums, and I brought them, and we had some. Do we have some songs as well? Anyway, so being the songwriter of the band, anyway, I just brought all the stuff, so I had it. So sitting down yapping away to him, and so we get on very well, and he goes, "Yeah, this is great," and blah blah blah. And I said, "I love the music, I love the song, I love the idea." So This Is My Home it was obviously the main song on it, which we called the documentary. And An Irish Story was the idea from the distribution company, because particularly when it's been released in America, An Irish Story, people, all the Irish levitate to, because you've like 50 to 70, I think it's over 50 million diaspora over here, people with Irish descent and heritage and so on. So we got on very well. He says, "Yeah, we're going to do it." So we had to go and get finance for this movie, right? So how are we going to do that? So we played at Folktale Winery up in Carmel, and it's a 250 tickets selling outside theatre, if you want to put it. It's played in the Barrel Room, very cool place. It's out on this building out in the vines on the winery. Beautiful place up by Pebble Beach Golf Club in Carmel. And that's Central California, Monterey Peninsula. And we were up there, and we were being very successful there, and the owner really liked us, and we got friendly with him and stuff like that. And so we went to talk to him about, could you finance something like this, And he loved the idea, and we sold him on it, and he financed it. He financed it, so which is fantastic. So it was a big rigmarole to get this thing done, absolutely. And then and we set about going on the road with it. So we had the funding, or most of it. A lot of the funding that was supposed to come in didn't come in. So on the day that we were leaving, we didn't even have an RV. So that was a problem, and we had to drive in my car to Arizona while the RV or the money was coming in. So it was coming in dribs and drabs, and it wasn't coming in fast enough. But ultimately, we didn't have enough money to do it, which caused a lot of people pain and caused a lot of people grief and stuff like that. But it was only down to not what we were saying we were going to do, but with the other crowd that were helping us, weren't really helping us, So that's how we get into that. That's how that all happened,
It's gas. I've watched the documentary there. I had to say, absolutely brilliant watch. There's so many bits in it that jump out. Like, it's for anyone who wants to watch it, you can get it. I watch it on Apple TV, and you can get it on Amazon and all that as well. But
right,
like, there's bits where you crack up laughing. There's bits where the two of you guys are brilliant together. There's a volcano eruption when you're in Hawaii. The RV is a saga in itself, but mixed into all the humour in the story, there's really, really touching moments as well. There's the bit about your cousin, and then as well, as you guys get to the end of the whole thing, it just absolutely amazing. Like, but it was 35 days you were gone, 35 days away from home in this camper van, chasing flights, chasing gigs. Some gigs fall through, so you end up playing in places like nursing homes to keep the record going, kind of thing. Like,
unbelievable.
Your mental health must have took a hammering, loving it and hating it at the same time.
Listen, it was horrendous, and that RV was haunted as well. It was. There was things going on in there that shouldn't have been going on, and it was blown up more times than a beach ball. We broke down. We had the police chasing us. We had the air conditioning went out. We had it was really, really weird. There was women and men running after you as well. It was a bit weird, We had a bit of which we always say, we're never going back to Idaho Falls because they're all mad up there. But no, yeah, absolutely. The mental state was real acid house, you know what I mean? And what was happening was there was a crew of 11 of us all together. How's it going? And was a crew of about 11 of us, and we were we were going around with a pursuit vehicle, and we had the RV, and 11 people, and they're all supposed to be getting paid, but nobody was getting paid because the money wasn't there to pay them, you know. And as a result, as you can imagine, there was these little little cliques starting to form, you know, internally. So he wasn't talking to him, and he wouldn't be talking to him, and there was a couple of like very tasty moments going through it where people were losing their rag and stuff like that. Also, Folktail Winery gave us about 16 cases of red wine to promote when we're going along. I'll give you one guess what happened to that. So that was getting buried to help people just get through it, get on, get by. We were selling CDs and T-shirts, and then we had a GoFundMe account just to try and make the thing happen, you know. So it was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. But we got there in the end, and I don't know how we did. I honestly don't know how we did. But the amount of things that happened, you could not prepare yourself for. Like you say, the volcano eruptions, the hurricanes, the tornadoes, the breakdowns, mentally and mechanically. I mean, it really, really was a saga. I do not know how we made it to New York. I still don't know. And there was 4 or 5 very, very tentative times where we were saying, okay, let's call it. You know, we were in Alabama. I remember happening there. Wisconsin happening there. Just when we got from the West Coast through Middle America, and then started to get, you know, heading towards the East, the states get smaller, so you could cover more. And I think that's really what saved us. You could cover more ground and do it quicker. You felt like you were getting there. And we started to realize, okay, if we play a gig, sell a few CDs, get some food, because they were just giving us food. We're like paupers. We were sell a CD, maybe a T-shirt or whatever. They give you a donation or whatever like that. And that's how we got through. Unbelievable. Our friends came in the end and, you know, sorted out some of the lads and whatever outstanding bills they were and stuff like that. People are great in this country for that, like where they you know, they have a company and they have like tax write-offs and stuff like that. Well, then they were able to kind of help us out. But it was a saga. Good word, a saga. Yeah.
Would you do it again?
I don't think so. But here's another thing, Graham.
Sequel for the Oscar.
Listen, here's what's happening. So we're actually we've actually started our second one. It's called Through a Storm, and I'll be putting out something this week about it actually, and it's being directed by a guy called Jeff Ohm, who's worked on The Fifth Element and The Revenant, and let me see, Spider-Man, and all of these massive movies. And he's directed it anyway, and he's great. We had him, and we had Don King's and Mike Tyson's film crew who were in. We've Benny Rietveld from Santana, who's co-producing the project, and again, it's been sponsored. So by companies that if we expose their brand, you know, on the movie, because they know it's going to get massive exposure, and also there's links into Apple TV, Netflix, and the other one, and Amazon Prime, who are interested in putting it out. So that's all in the making. This Through a Storm,
Jesus.
not to get off storyline here at the moment, but very quickly, it's to coincide with the 20th anniversary of 9/11, and the caption is, "Where were you when 9/11 happened?" And what we've done is we've interviewed people from New York. We're heading up to New York there in 2 weeks to talk to the fire departments and the NYPD and get their stories about it. We have a sizzle going to Netflix. Hopefully they'll take it on, and then, you know, they'll take the project, and it's a one-stop shop then. All your marketing, all your advertising, and obviously your distribution is all done in a one-stop shop. That's the way to go, because if you're an independent artist like this, there's no way that you can do the stuff without driving yourself insane, you know. So heading over for that, all culminating with a performance outside the Freedom Building on 9/11 with the NYPD, pipe bands, and the FDNY, and we various other police departments that want to get involved with it as well. So this could actually pick up a little bit of dust. Why do we want to do it? Well, here it is. We were in New York in 2018. Browner had seen this before, back when it happened. But we went over to the Freedom Building, and I'd seen all the Irish names all engraved. Over 1,000 people with Irish descent died on that day. And then you see all the green jerseys and the football jerseys and so on, and it hits you, So immediately we wanted to do something to respectfully remember them, because it's not after 20 years. There's a lot of kids that are growing up now that actually don't realise how bad that was and what
it's
it
mad
means.
that it's 20
People,
years ago.
It's
Jesus,
it's crazy that you're saying it. Like my brother-in-law is like, he was born in '99, and I remember there we had a conversation, and he was like, yeah, like, he goes, I've seen it on TV, but I mean, like, and he's just completely desensitized to it. He doesn't.
That's a great word.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because there's no, like, I can remember. I remember being in school and like our
we were in
class
school, we were in
Lawrence's
Lawrence's
College, yeah. And I can remember like the class being interrupted, but to be told this, like, yeah, and then he's a few years younger than me, shall we say? And then he's just like, yeah, I mean, like, it looks bad, but I mean, was it really that big a deal? I'm like,
well,
yeah,
I was actually, Dave, was with your brother Robert, and we were as we call, doing laps around the school. And Miss Delaney, the librarian, was bringing a TV out, and she's like, did you not hear? Everyone was all a bit somber, and we were just fooling about, and she's like, lads, did you not hear what happened? Now, the way she described it on the day, I'll never forget, and I wonder if Robert remembers. She said, fighter jets are after crashing into the World Trade Center, and me and Robert Roots are like, what do you mean fighter jets? The World Trade, she had to have got that wrong. Like, we didn't believe her, and then we made our way downstairs. And do you remember the TVs on the carriers?
Mm.
Yeah.
Brother Fred was watching it on the TV outside one of the maintenance room.
Yeah.
And then we see commercial planes are after going through. We're like, what the fuck? It was just towards the end of the school day. We're like, what the?
Yeah. So Danny, it's where you put it, or you very rightly said it, people are desensitized to it. And it's a very good word, because a lot of people are saying to me, thank you very, very much for doing this, which I didn't really kind of, okay, well, it's just something that we wanted to do. But the reason why they're saying that is because they've realized that a lot of people don't actually feel what they're feeling. Like, I'm the beauty about moving around the States and doing what I do when I'm not playing at RERA, playing other shows and doing all this sort of stuff, is that you get to meet a lot of these people that were actually present when this was going on, whether they were on the New York side or the Jersey side. And some of these stories, and bear in mind, a lot of these people haven't spoken about this very much since it happened. So they're kind of surprised because they're answering spontaneously to the questions that were put to them, or at least the director is putting to them. And he's very surprised and delighted that he's getting these kind of reactions, because he wasn't expecting it to be so heartfelt, and people are breaking down, crying about it as well, but they're frustrated with younger people who don't realise and are desensitized to it. So it was a good word that you used there. So fair play.
Yeah, no worries. And so sorry, go on.
No, so that's what we're doing. So this is the new documentary. It's called Through a Storm. What we've done is we've re-recorded Jerry Marston's You'll Never Walk Alone, and we've done it with a gospel choir and with a brass section and stuff like that. And it's big, bad, and it's bold. And I like that song not only because I'm a Liverpool fan, but also it's one of them songs that lifts people up, and the message in it will lift people up in darker times. And I think it's a very apt. Through a Storm is a great name for the doc, and it'll touch a lot of hearts. That's for sure.
You can't go wrong with a gospel choir as well.
Yeah, it's just something. I mean, you can build a song. You can start with nothing, and with an acoustic guitar, and build up from there. You can make a song as big as you want to make it, as long as you have the time and the resources to do it. But it's really big. Like, the song is really big, and it's in C major, so it's when you hit the high C, it's a big, bad, and bold note to try and hit from a vocal perspective, But I'm liking the way it's shaping. We're early doors. As I say, we're heading over to New York now in a couple of weeks to speak with all the fire departments, to speak with the charities. So all the proceeds from the single release will go to the NYPD and the FDNY foundations, which are the widows and orphans of the fallen that died on that fateful day. So all the first responders brotherhood which is all the fire departments, all the the police departments, all the way around the USA and beyond are all getting involved. So this could be fairly big in its outreach, and it's going to appease a lot of people and help people along and help them remember all of these people that were running towards the bullets and not away from them, and running towards the fire and not away from them, which is what they do on a daily basis. And just killer, you know. So it's great to be doing it for the Irish people that died, and also not only for them but for everybody else, because we're giving a little bit back for what America has given us, and we think that's the nice thing to do, you know.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Sounds like
Brilliant,
it'll be a
Dave.
cracker, man. Really look forward to hearing more about that, and when it eventually comes out, getting to sit down and watch it. The Emmy Award winning doc, though, as I said, people can go and check it out now if they haven't already. Obviously, you filmed it a couple of years ago and that kind of thing, and it's got a kind of lease of life now, obviously, with the award win and everything else. How have you found the attention that's come on from it?
It's absolutely incredible how people see it. The first thing, when people see it on a screen, they change the whole approach to you. Your value seems to go up. You know, I'm not going to say I'm not a celebrity or anywhere near it, but at the same time, what it does is it gives you an exposure, and it gives you a popularity. I know we're quite a popular band. Like people like what we do, and that's good enough for me, you know. But no, people change how they see it, you know, and they treat you with a bit more. Was it all right if I talk to you, kind of thing, you know? And then there's a bit of that, like that. There's a word. They super sensationalize the whole thing. But it's amazing what it does for you. Don't get me wrong. I'm loving it. You know, I like it. But you enjoy it and stuff. But sometimes it can get a bit. You know, people can be a bit over the top. You know, about it, and you know, you feel a bit. They can encroach on you a little bit, and that gets a bit uncomfortable. So I can see why the need for. Let's say when somebody gets a bit of exposure, a band gets a bit of exposure, well, these green rooms and all this kind of stuff where they come out and they perform and they go to the green one, and what they're doing in there is they're hiding in there. Is what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because people don't understand that, you know, oh, I want to get at you and talk and all that kind of stuff. And it's great to do that, to get out and talk to people. But, you know, there's a threshold to it. Definitely, there's a threshold to that kind of behaviour, you know.
So it certainly did open opportunities for you, like you said, with the latest documentary. Has any opportunities come your way from your homeland?
No.
Is that disappointing or?
Well, for me, no. For me, it's not. Dave Brown, maybe a little bit. I don't, and I'll tell you the very reason why. Well, first of all, it's just a pity that a lot of the media hasn't picked up on it. Now, we have a friend in the Sunday World, and we've a guy in the Mirror that did something there, and don't get me wrong. In the past, they have the RTE got involved with us, with the World Records and all that kind of stuff. But as time went on, I noticed various sporting events weren't being covered, like the likes of Katie Taylor winning the World Championships and winning all our latest bouts and all that. Excuse me, and I didn't understand why they weren't covering that. You couldn't see much coverage of it, like, you know, it's really weird. So they're very selective in what they're going after and what stories they are, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. To me, of course, it's a small bit. You say, well, it's a pity that you're not doing that. But at the same time, the bulk of your work and the bulk of your support and the bulk of what you're doing is all based here in the States, because the industry is here. So, you know, apart from like a tip of the cap and, you know, whatever, it doesn't really bother me that that's not happening, you know. We've got enough exposure over there, but this is where the industry is over here. So this is what we're focused on. Now, I say this very, very clearly. I love being Irish and I love Ireland, you know what I mean? And that's nothing got to do with like what the media, whether they cover us or they don't, you know. I'm a very proud Irish man, you know, and that's it. So I would say nothing against Ireland. I love the place and I love the people and the sense of humour, because we're great people. And anyone that doesn't like us, well then they don't like us.
Well, it's a good segue to the next comment. Like, what do you miss most about Ballybrack?
I told you, the chipper.
The chipper.
Well, next time you're home, we'll make sure there's a bag of chips waiting on you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
No, I love all of that. I love the sense of humor, which I miss big time. You know, we don't realize the characters that we are, or maybe we do, but a lot of people don't. We also don't realize how beautiful our country is and what like what it looks like. Our hospitality and our friendliness is second to none. One very interesting thing that I think all Irish people should do is try Ireland as a tourist. Take a week and try it as a tourist and see how you get on. You'll be pleasantly surprised. I used to jump on a train, go down to County Clare and Cork, sitting in bars, drinking lovely pints of Guinness and Murphy's, and trying all the local cuisines and the local fish and the sustainable local foods and all that stuff, and all these different breweries, microbreweries popping up, and all these other bits and pieces. We've got a lot to offer on that stuff, you know. A lot of people would be pleasantly surprised what they got. I went up and I did the Kilmainham Jail tour. That was amazing, absolutely amazing. And I said, Jesus, why haven't I done this ever before? So there's lots of stuff, you know. I'd be driving into town, going and doing my gigs and all the rest of it, and everything would just be bypassing me. There's a lot of stuff that we have that we don't realise. Get out and enjoy it. It's there for the taking, and it's as good as anywhere else in the world, if not better.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, it's a great note to do it on. But before we let you go, Dave, I suppose, where can people, if they want to get more from the Black Donnellys from yourself, where can people get you?
Facebook is, like, because over 6 billion people have it, is the place to be. It's great having websites, and we have all of them. The Black Donnellys Dublin is our website, or is our Facebook page. Everything goes through that in and out of it. We have the Black Donnellys band, blackdonnellysband.com, which is our website. But as I say, most stuff goes through the Facebook page. That's where it's all happening. That's where you see all the stuff. If you want to look at the documentary, An Irish Story, This Is My Home, it's on, like you said, Apple TV. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on Google Play. It's on a host of different platforms. All you got to do is just Google it, and a plethora of platforms are there. You can rent it for as little as $2.99. So it's definitely worth it. You'll be glad that you did. It's doing great things for us. It's opened up the door for festivals, for theatres, for all sorts of stuff. So, next year is going to be a great year for us.
Absolutely,
brilliant,
man.
Dave. Before I let you go, I just want to, I suppose, thank you as well. I'm very close to the Cummins family, as my auntie is married to Alan, and I want to thank you for the song you wrote for Derek. It was an absolutely sensational tribute. Maury and Christy absolutely adored it. And I also want to thank you as well. Obviously, my poor grandparents left us last year, both of them within 6 months of each other. And I love
them people.
Yeah, every time they saw you in town, they came home with a huge glare on their face and delighted to say that they saw Dave Rooney play in Temple.
I remember Ray and Linda came in actually to Gogarty's when I was playing there.
Yeah.
And your mother was such a lovely woman, and not your mother, your grandmother and your grandfather Ray was a smashing man, very pleasant, always nice people, always. And even when I'm thinking of them now and I'm smiling, they were lovely people.
Yeah.
So
I remember that day in Gogarty's, they came home with your CD in one bag, and my granny came home with some oranges in another bag, said that Gogarty's were giving away free fruit.
Oh, yeah, they used to have fruit on the bars and stuff like that. That's right, yeah. But they were lovely people. With regards to the song for Derek, well, Derek was my best friend, and it took me 30 years to write that song because anytime I tried to do it, I'd break down. But the good news is that it's going to be on the new album as well. So I'm really taking my time with it. So that'll be coming out. Huckleberry Friend. But thanks for saying that. I appreciate that, Graham. I appreciate that very much. Thanks.
It's from the heart as well, because I know the whole Cummins family absolutely adored it.
Yeah. Well, they're great people, and I'm very fond of them. So.
And my granddad would have just loved to hear that you won an Emmy and all this success. So. Obviously, I can't tell him that, but just, you know what I mean? Like,
listen, he's listening. Don't you worry. He can hear you.
Yeah,
he can hear you.
He would have been so proud and delighted to say that he knew someone who won an Emmy.
Well, they're all around us, and I'm sure they're up there having a drink and having a good laugh and a dance. So it's all good.
Dave, you're a gent. Amazing. Thanks so much for your time.
Dave, thank you.
Continued success. Might get you back on in September when the launch of the next documentary.
Yeah. I'd be happy to do it. Whatever you want, lads. I'd be happy to jump on. It was an absolute pleasure. Thanks very much indeed.
Amazing, Dave. Thank you so much, man. Take care of yourself.
Thanks so much, Dave.
All the best, fellas. All the best.
See you
Bye-bye.
All the best.
Bye bye.
I love that. I love that chat, man.
That was a great chat. Very feel good chat, wasn't it?
Yeah. I have to say, right, I watched the documentary. Genuinely brilliant. I'm not just saying because you had him on. Genuinely very, very, very enjoyable documentary. It's only about an hour and 20 minutes, and it's great. It'll have you laughing. It'll have you emotional. But the thing that had me more than anything was gagging for the decent night in the pub with a live band. Honest to God, man.
Pining, were you?
Pining for just that kind of, you're in a pub and you have a pint in front of you, your mates around you, you're having a bit of crack, and there's decent tunes in the background.
Yeah.
Not that music that's too loud where you can't hear your mates or anything like that. Just that nice balance of decent songs where people can join in every so often. And yeah. So credit to Dave Rooney and Dave Brown of the Black Donnellys. A brilliant documentary, and I highly recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it.
And if you're in Vegas at the Mandalay Bay and head down to Rera's Irish Bar, we went, when you and I and Jono and Carl were there, we went one afternoon and he wasn't playing.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not playing the afternoon, but he plays in the evening. But it's a great pub, great Irish pub, great hotel. Has an aquarium in the hotel as well.
It does.
So, yeah, if you're in Vegas, stop by to Rera's.
The Vegas Metro line thingy-majiggy goes all the way up to Mandalay Bay. So
yeah, he's talked about the heat there, 47 degrees. Do you remember when we went to Vegas in July and for the Mendes fight?
My God.
And do you remember we went to the pawn shop?
Graham, it's still the biggest disappointment in my life, that pawn shop, all right? We talked about it in detail. I think it was on chapter 189 of the podcast, which was actually chapter 4. But
the temperature that day was 41 degrees. And I remember saying, lads, I'm going to have to get a taxi. My fucking tires are melting.
Yeah, it was.
Wheelchair.
I've been to Vegas twice in July, and both times were a mistake.
Wouldn't be into it again.
No, go, lads. If you're going, go March, go October. It's lovely then. Like,
September,
you know what I mean?
we went September.
September was lovely. Yeah, that was yeah, absolutely.
It was a nice breeze in the evening, but still kind of.
Anyway, we're not going to talk anything about UFC until a few weeks' time when we've a fucking good one lined up then. But anyway, that's a completely different story. Look, we'll leave it there because we waffled a lot.
It was excellent. Great. Until next time.
Well, people want to listen, all that kind of, just do the plug.
Search WTS Pod on any podcast provider, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, Podcast Republic, everywhere you get a podcast. Search WTS Pod. We're on WTSpod.com. You can listen back to all our episodes. And we're also at WTS Pod on Twitter. If you want to get to Danny, he's at Danjo Murray on Twitter. He's at Danjo Murray on Instagram, where occasionally you will see 3 wolves acting the bollocks on his Insta stories, which is very, very entertaining. And you can get me at Merrigan Mania, where content is full of Shamrock Rovers and Sudsy. Until next time.
Clear eyes.
All hearts.
Can't.
Too sweet.